Hey family, this is day 51 of our Reading Through the Bible Together in a Year series. Today we're covering Deuteronomy, or Davarim, the words, chapters 4 and 5. Now, where we're at right now is that Moshe is addressing the generation of Israel that's about to enter the Promised Land under the tutelage, not tutelage is the wrong word, under the guidance and leadership of Joshua, as we would call him. And so, about to get into some of these laws, some reiterations of some laws. And so, let's see how it goes today. And now give ear, O Israel, to the laws and the decisions which I am teaching you, and do them, so that life may be yours, and you may go in and take for yourselves the land which Yahweh, the God of your fathers, is giving you. Make no addition to the orders which I give you, and take nothing from them, but keep the orders of Yahweh your God which I give you. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did because of Baal Peor, for destruction came from Yahweh on all those among you who went after Baal Peor. But you who kept faith with Yahweh are living, every one of you, today. I have been teaching you laws and decisions as I was ordered to do by Yahweh my God, so that you might keep them in the land to which you are going to take it for your heritage. So keep these laws and do them, for so will your wisdom and good sense be clear in the eyes of the peoples, who hearing all these laws will say, Truly this great nation is a wise and far-seeing people. For what great nation has a God so near to them as Yahweh our God is, whenever we are turned to him in prayer? And what great nation has laws and decisions so right as all this law which I put before you today? Only take care and keep watch on your soul, for fear that the things which your eyes have seen go from your memory and from your heart all the days of your life. But let the knowledge of them be given to your children and to your children's children. That day when you were waiting before Yahweh your God in Horeb, and Yahweh said to me, Make all the people come together, so that hearing my words they may go in fear of me all the days of their life on earth, and give this teaching to their children. And you came near, waiting at the foot of the mountain, and flames of fire went up from the mountains to the heart of heaven, with dark clouds, and all was black as night. And the voice of Yahweh came to you out of the fire, the sound of his words came to your ears, but you saw no form. There was nothing but a voice. And he gave you his agreement with you, the 10 rules which you were to keep, which he put in writing on the 2 stones of the law. And Yahweh gave me orders at that time to make clear to you these laws and decisions, so that you might do them in the land to which you are going, and which is to be your heritage. So keep watch on yourselves with care, for you saw no form of any sort on that day when the voice of Yahweh came to you in Horeb, out of the heart of the fire, so that you may not be turned to evil ways, and make for yourselves an image in the form of any living thing, male or female, or any beast of the earth, or winged bird of the air, or of anything which goes flat on the earth, or any fish in the water under the earth. And when your eyes are lifted up to heaven, and you see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the army of heaven, do not let yourselves be moved to give them worship, or become the servants of what Yahweh has given equally to all peoples under heaven. But Yahweh has taken you out of the flaming fire, out of Egypt, to be to him the people of his heritage, as you are today. And Yahweh was angry with me because of you, and made an oath that I was not to go over Yarden into the good land which Yahweh is giving you for your heritage. But death is to come to me in this land. I may not go over Yarden. But you will go over and take that good land for your heritage. Take care that you do not let the agreement of Yahweh your God, which he has made with you, go out of your mind, or make yourselves images of any sort against the orders for which Yahweh your God has given you. For Yahweh your God is an all-burning fire, and he will not let the honor which is his be given to any other. If, when you have had children and children's children, and have been living for a long time in the land, you are turned to evil ways, and make an image of any sort, and do evil in the eyes of Yahweh your God, moving him to wrath, may heaven and earth be my witnesses against you today, that destruction will quickly overtake you, cutting you off from the land which you are going over Yarden to take. Your days will not be long in that land, but you will come to a complete end. And Yahweh will send you wandering among the peoples. Only a small band of you will be kept from death among the nations where Yahweh will send you. There you will be the servants of gods, made by men's hands, of wood and stone, having no power of seeing or hearing or taking food or smelling. But if in those lands you are turned again to Yahweh your God, searching for him with all your heart and soul, he will not keep himself from you. When you are in trouble and all these things have come on you, if in the future you are turned again to Yahweh your God and give ear to his voice, Because Yahweh your God is a God of mercy, he will not take away his help from you, or let destruction overtake you, or be false to the agreement which he made by an oath with your fathers. Give thought now to the days which are past, before your time, from the day when God first gave life to man on the earth, and searching from one end of heaven to the other, see if such a great thing as this has ever been, or if anything like it has been talked of in story. Has any people ever gone on living after hearing the voice of God out of the heart of the fire as you did? Has God ever before taken a nation for himself from out of another nation by punishments and signs and wonders, by war and by a strong hand and a stretched out arm and great acts of wonder and fear, as Yahweh your God did for you in Egypt before your very eyes? All this he let you see, so that you might be certain that Yahweh is God, and there is no other. Out of heaven itself his voice came to you, teaching you, and on earth he let you see his great fire. And his words came to your ears out of the heart of the fire. And because of his love for your fathers, he took their seed and made it his. And he himself, present among you, took you out of Egypt by his great power, driving out before you nations greater and stronger than you, to take you into their land and give it to you for your heritage, as at this day. So today be certain and keep the knowledge deep in your hearts that Yahweh is God. In heaven on high and here on earth there is no other God. Then keep his laws and his orders which I give you today, so that it may be well for you and for your children after you, and that your lives may be long in the land which Yahweh your God is giving you forever. Then Moshe had 3 towns marked out on the far side of Yarden looking to the east, to which anyone causing the death of his neighbor in error and not through hate might go in flight, so that in one of these towns he might be kept from death. The names of the towns were Betzer in the wasteland, in the tableland, for the Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan for Manasseh. This is the law which Moshe put before the children of Israel. These are the rules and the laws and the decisions which Moshe gave to the children of Israel after they came out of Egypt, on the far side of Yarden, in the valley facing Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who was ruling in Heshbon, whom Moshe and the children of Israel overcame after they had come out of Egypt. And they took his land for a heritage, and the land of Og, king of Bashan, the 2 kings of the Amorites, whose lands were on the other side of Yarden to the east, from Aroer, on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, as far as Mount Sion, which is Hermon, and all the Arava on the far side of Yarden to the east, as far as the sea of the Arava, under the slopes of Pisgah. And Moshe sent for all Israel, and said to them, Give ear, O Israel, to the laws and the decisions which I give you today, and keep attention to them, so that you may keep and do them. Yahweh our God made an agreement with us in Horeb. Yahweh did not make this agreement with our fathers, but with us, who are all living and present here today. The word of Yahweh came to you face to face on the mountain, out of the heart of the fire. I was between Yahweh and you at the time, to make clear to you the word of Yahweh, because through fear of the fire you did not go up the mountain, saying, I am Yahweh your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, out of the prison house. You are to have no other gods but me. You may not make for yourselves an image in the form of anything in heaven or on earth or in the waters under the earth. You may not go down on your faces before them or give them worship. For I, Yahweh, your God, am a God who will not give his honor to another. And I will send punishment on the children for the wrongdoing of their fathers, to the 3rd and 4th generation of my haters. And I will have mercy through 1,000 generations on those who have love for me and keep my laws. You are not to make use of the name of Yahweh your God for an evil purpose. Whoever takes Yahweh's name for an evil purpose will be judged as a sinner by Yahweh. Keep the Shabbat day as a holy day, as you have been ordered by Yahweh your God. On 6 days do all your work, but the 7th day is a Shabbat to Yahweh your God. On that day do no work, you or your son or your daughter, or your manservant or your womanservant, or your ox or your donkey, or any of your cattle, or the man from a strange country who is living among you, so that your manservant and your womanservant may have rest as well as you. And keep in mind that you were a servant in the land of Egypt, and that Yahweh your God took you out of that land by his strong hand and his stretched out arm. For this reason Yahweh has given you orders to keep the Shabbat day. Give honor to your father and your mother, as you have been ordered by Yahweh your God, so that your life may be long and all may be well for you in the land which Yahweh your God is giving you. Do not put anyone to death without a cause. Do not be false to the married relation. Do not take the property of another. Do not give false witness against your neighbor. Or let your desire be turned to your neighbor's wife, or his house, or his field, or his manservant, or his womanservant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything which is your neighbor's. These words Yahweh said to all of you together on the mountain, out of the heart of the fire, out of the cloud and the dark, with a great voice, and he said no more. He put them in writing on the 2 stones of the law and gave them to me. And after hearing the voice which came out of the dark while the mountain was burning with fire, all the heads of your tribes and your chiefs came to me and said, Yahweh has let us see his glory and his power, and his voice has come to us out of the fire. Today we have seen that a man may go on living even after hearing the voice of God. Why then is death to be our fate? For if the voice of Yahweh our God comes to us any more, death will overtake us, and we will be burned up in this great fire. For what man is there in all the earth who, hearing the voice of the living God, as we have, out of the heart of the fire, has been kept from death? You go near, and after hearing everything which Yahweh our God has to say, give us an account of all he has said to you, and we will give ear and do it. Then Yahweh, hearing your words to me, said to me, The words which this people have said to you have come to my ears. What they have said is well said. If only they had such a heart in them at all times, so that they might go in fear of me, and keep my orders, and that it might be well for them and for their children forever. Now say to them, Go back to your tents. But as for you, keep your place here by me, and I will give you all the orders and the laws and the decisions which you are to make clear to them, so that they may do them in the land which I am giving them for their heritage. Take care then to do whatever Yahweh your God has given you orders to do. Let there be no turning away to the right hand or to the left. Go on walking in the way ordered for you by Yahweh your God, so that life may be yours and it may be well for you, and your days may be long in the land of your heritage. So today we saw the significance and the importance of the original 10 Commandments and the interaction of God and his people at Mount Sinai, or in this account, it's called Mount Horeb. It's the same place. But one of the things that I find interesting in the Deuteronomy so far is that Moses keeps saying, God made this agreement with you. Even though he's talking about a covenant that was made 40 years earlier to technically a different generation. But there doesn't seem to be a distinction between this generation that is being spoken to now and that generation that's spoken to 40 years ago. Now, even though there is a distinction in the fact that the old generation didn't get to enter the promised land and this new generation is going to go into the promised land, from Moses' perspective, when it comes to God's law and God's covenant, God's agreement with his people and his expectations, the promise of blessing and the expectations of curses, depending on if they follow the law or not, Moses doesn't make a distinction. This is a covenant between you and God, right? This is a covenant that God made with you, right? It's almost as if Moses is saying, you can't just say it's an agreement with your fathers and that you're not held up to it. He said, no, this is a covenant of yours as well. And I think that is good for us to think about. Now, I know that the majority of us probably watching these videos or listening are not Jewish, are not Israelites, are not under the covenant of Mount Sinai particularly. However, it's good to think about the wisdom from these things and whether or not God feels the same way about some of these laws, especially these 10 big ones that seems to be the main things written on the stones of the covenant, right? The tablets of the covenant. The main 10 commandments anyway, right, that we read today. It's just good to have that in mind, that when Moses is talking to this generation, he's saying God made this agreement with you. And so you who are listening to this video, God made an agreement with you. I mean, maybe he hasn't. Maybe you haven't decided on that. Maybe you haven't decided to become a part of God's people. However, God's people, God has made a covenant with you, even though he has spoken years and years ago. The covenant is with you. And think about that and how important that must be. So, I hope I've given you something to think about, and have a wonderful day.